And welcome to week number 6 of SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network. My name is Merle Bertrand, joined once again by head coach Joe Austin, Jack Farrell, our producer, Suna Vincat, our technical guru back at the comfy, cozy Vype Live studios. We get ready to talk about ETBU and head the Pirates off into the bye week. Before we get going, I want to make sure to thank some of our sponsors tonight, including Antioch and Georgetown, Baylor Scott at White Healthcare, Chapel Realty Group, Chick-fil-A, Chisholm Trail Pediatrics, Hewlett Chevrolet Buick Volkswagen, Double Dave's Pizza, Eagles Wings, First Texas Bank, Gary Brown CPA. We'll get to the rest of the sponsors later on in the show. Coming up tonight on the show, we'll hear from defensive back Elijah Norris and offensive lineman Andrew Johnson. And, Coach, I got to remind myself not to look at the lights right before I try to read the sponsors because I was kind of guessing on half of those. But, Pirates on the road facing a team they'd never beaten, went toe-to-toe with ETBU on Saturday night. A very misleading score, 31-10, a one-score game until about midway through the fourth quarter. What are your overall takeaways from Saturday night's game?
Our defense played really well. They created a bunch of turnovers. They got stuck with some really hard situations, and our defense did an awesome job. Offensively, it was a frustrating night for our players because we could get close. I mean, in the second half, we're inside their 30-yard line, got to their 19, but couldn't cash in. So we were close. But you have to give their defense credit. Their interior linemen and their box linebackers did a good job. They made it hard on us. They covered us well on the perimeter. So it was not a great offensive night, but we were close. We were close. We were right where we needed to be in the fourth quarter, as you said.
Right.
It was 17-10 going into the fourth, and we had opportunities in the fourth to score, and it didn't quite work out the way we wanted to.
Well, after I did the documentary about Southwestern football coming back, I did one on semi-pro football called Between the 20s, and that game Saturday night seemed very even between the 20s. And we'll see some of the highlights here. The special teams kind of let the Pirates down just a little bit, but between the 20s, it seemed like a pretty even football game. I was driving, the long drive back, couldn't really think of any one play that stood out where they beat you guys.
Well, you're right. From an offensive standpoint, we moved it between the 20s.
Right.
But our defense came up with a stop or held them to a field goal attempt that they missed. As you said, our special teams had some miscues. We fumbled the opening second half kickoff. They got the ball in the red zone. We held them to a field goal. So I think up and down the field, our defense did a really good job. Offensively, I think between the 20s, as you said, we did okay.
Right.
But we didn't cash in enough. And we had our chances. An emotional game. We put a lot into it. And my immediate reaction, the thing I told the players in the locker room is still my same reaction. We really tried hard.
Yeah.
Man, did we play hard. Our effort was unbelievable. Our focus was great. So those foundational things that give you a chance to be a good football team are there. Our compete level was off the charts.
Yep.
I mean, it was so important to our football players. And so we lost, but it was still really cool to see and be a part of a team that was really passionate about that game and just laid it out there. And so I'll go to battle with the guys like that every week. So we'll do it. We'll line it up again in 2 weeks, and our guys are going to be ready, and we're going to compete, and we're going to go after it hard.
Well, Jack Farrell, our producer, adjusting their camera shot. If you're ready to go, we'll get to some of the highlights and let the folks out there take a look at some of the highlights and a few of the lowlights from Saturday night's game.
I have my water ready. My allergies are killing me, but I'll take some sips, and I'll try to get some good descriptions of these highlights. So we're struggling a little bit on kickoff coverage. We've changed some things. We've done things different. We had some open guys there. We had 2 guys that had a chance to make the tackle. Charlie Fournier does it all. He tackles him at the 47. But not the start we wanted, but the first play we get back on track. Malik McDonald pushes our H-back back into the quarterback, gets the sack, his first of 2 sacks on the night. And then on third down, we blitz our empty formation, and Elijah Norris, who's going to be on the show tonight, by a hair. I mean, I paused that thing 17 times. Their official was right there, and he caught the white. But, man, talk about a game of inches. Game of inches from being 7-0. So this is our first offensive play. We get it down to first down from the 14-yard line. Unfortunately, that's as close as we would come. But Charlie Fournier, that dude doesn't miss, man. So 3-0 about a minute and a half into the game off of the turnover. This is our second drive. We got them into third and long. A bunch of guys converge. Really good defense. Our third and long defense was excellent. They made it hard on us. They hemmed in Landry a little bit. They got us into some situations where we were not getting the ball out as fast as we would have liked. This was a big play for them. We made a mistake in our zone coverage. We didn't overlap the two seam routes. They ran a switch release on us, and that got them into the red zone. And they just kind of chipped away. They got a few yards here, a few yards there. They converted on 3rd and 1. They just kept kind of methodically moving it down on this drive. And there they got the 7-yard touchdown run. So it's 7-3 now in the first quarter. We came back with our best offensive drive of the night, where we had our most sustained run game. We also got 2 big chunk pass plays. This will be one of our chunk pass plays. One of the times that Landry was able to set and throw on time outside the pocket. Found JoJo Wilson on the corner post for a nice 20-yard gain. This is Jaquan Marion with a nice spin move. This was the only drive, as I said, that we could string together, 6, 7, 8-yard run plays. And then with that run influence, we sold speed option, we sold sprint out, came back and found JoJo Wilson wide open. The camera kind of lost him. So did ETBU's defense.
So did we.
Yep. But that's a touchdown. He dove in, got the ball past the pylon, so we're up 10-7. This was a pivotal play. That was 3rd and 6. Our corner should have been a little bit tighter, and that gave them a first down, and then they came back and scored on this screen pass. The one thing that you can say our defense didn't do well, the list is long of what they did do well, we didn't do great in their screen game. We could have done a lot better, and there they converted a long pass on their screen play. We missed 2 kickoffs during the night, unfortunately. We have a five catcher system. 5 guys could catch it. Our up back there didn't catch it. Luckily, we recovered it, but we didn't get much going on the drive. There's another sack. But the field was tipped at this point because we started at our 12. We had to punt. Our defense now is dealing with another short field. We're trying to hold it together the best we can. We really tightened our run defense throughout the game. But here on this drive, they were able to find some 6, 7, 8-yard gains, not really a big gash. And they're getting it down into our red zone. But this is a really crucial thing because we held them out of the end zone. 1st and goal, we stopped them 3 times, and they missed a short field goal. and those things happen. So what a great stop for our defense to bend but not break. So we're at 10-7 here. This is late in the second quarter. We're trying to get some things going with a 2-minute tempo. We get a first down, then we come up a little bit short, and we have to punt it to them, and we drop the snap. We could have been a little more physical with our up back to give Ben a chance to pick that up, but our defense, we put them in some tough spots all night. But they respond here, and that's another 3rd down stop. Then they come back on 4th down. It's 4th and 7. They run a screen pass again, and we get just enough. They get 6, we stop them. So we put our defense in a tough spot at the end of the half there, and they stopped them. This is the opening kickoff of the second half. We muffed the catch again, play that we have to make. So ETBU recovers the kickoff, and they start the second half at the 23-yard line. We're going to send them backwards. They're not going to gain a yard. Our defense is going to shut the door on them, hold them to a field goal. This time they convert the 40-yard field goal, but we control that damage, keep it to 3 points. So we're 17-10. We're going to see some third quarter action, some good plays for us, some good plays for them. This game is eventually going to go 17-10 into the fourth quarter. So as you can see, they're getting some pressure on us. They're flushing Landry, making things tough on them. But we're going to go into the fourth quarter in a one-score game. We're moving the ball a little bit, but playing some pretty darn good defense. Great tackle by Blake Corkin on their design quarterback run. Here's a bootleg that Jason Lund contains. And that's going to be an interception by Patrick Nicholas, who is wearing the wrong number this week. One of, 3-4 turnovers that we created on defense. Gives our offense the ball on their side of the 50, but we just couldn't consistently get those good 6, 7, 8 yard gains in the run or pass game that keeps the drive moving. There was a third down play, I think actually, that we threw an interception on and gave the ball back. Our defense is going to stop them again on this drive. That's third down. Actually, they converted this one. They were good. ETBU was good on third and short, not so good on third and long. Here we're going to get him behind the sticks. Alec Gomez had 18 tackles. Unfortunately, he missed that sack, but Malik McDonald was there to pick it up. Pressure again by Jason Lund. Forces them forward. This is third down. We create the fumble. Eli Norris had the interception before, had the fumble return. We're going to talk to him later in the game. Had a really good game. So we've got the ball back at midfield. You can see we moved it down again. We're in scoring position. The ball's at the 40. Third down, now we picked it up. We're down to the 36. This is still a 17-10 game in the fourth quarter. but that was as close as we were going to get. We threw the interception here. We tried to sneak it in to Gianni Taisagui out of an empty formation on the sideline. We turn it back over. That gives them a short field, another screen pass. We managed to gain on that, but they picked up the first down. And they're just going to, they're going to chip away at us. They're going to get 6-7 yards here, 6-7 yards there. There they got a little bit more than that, and then the dam kind of breaks at this drive. We kept, holding them. Here they need 1 yard. They got 1.25 yards. So we bent, just enough, unfortunately, and that made it a 2-score game. JoJo Wilson, another good game for him. He had our offensive touchdown, gets us out to the 35-yard line, good starting field position. And then we get a big chunk play of our own. They jumped our screen pass, so we went screen and go. This is Landry Gilpin down to Colby Bartlett, and we're back in a scoring position. We're down to the 24-yard line, a chance to score, get an onside kick, make a game of it. We're going to get one more first down. Now we're inside the red zone. We're at the 19-yard line. Unfortunately, 4 plays from there, we weren't able to get it much closer. So this is our 4th down play, and we had a drop pass, a good chance to get to first down at the 13 or 14-yard line. We continue to play hard on defense. We get them to 4th down here, and on 4th down, they're able to get their quarterback free out of an empty formation, and that's kind of the dam breaker right there. Our defense held so strong until the very end. They had so many tough situations. They kept playing hard. They kept us in the game. And as you said, Merle, between the 20s offensively, we were okay. Really, I'd say between the 30s. When we got to the 30, they put up their force field, and they held us, and they kept scoring. We're seeing kind of some things at the end of the game. We got some first downs, got the ball moving. You're going to see on this drive, that was 4th down. But our defense came back out after the 4th down stop. We're not going to let them score. We got another turnover. Stripped the quarterback. Nick Hackett, our 5th-year senior defensive tackle, recovers a fumble. Now at the very end of the game, you can see we're back down to the 30. The force field goes up at the 30. We're not able to convert. And that was the way that the game ended. 17-10 into the 4th quarter. Our defense really stood tall. They inherited some tough field position, and our offense just wasn't able to cash in on some opportunities. But you have to give their defense some credit. They were a very good defensive line, and their linebackers keyed into that really well. Right. They did the secondary contain, which means when the quarterback braced contain, their quarterback filled and was right on them. They did lots of stunts and twists that made it hard. Their defensive front had a really good game against us, and they made it hard. And their defense did the bend but don't break thing. They let us move a little bit. And then they were able to tighten down, and that was kind of the difference in the game.
Well, the Pirate defense forcing, by my count, 3 turnovers, I think 2 interceptions in the fumble recovery, and a whole slew, we saw a bunch of them there, a whole slew of tackles for losses, sacks, all that kind of thing. Just seemed to maybe wear down at the end of the field, and that may be the case where they just put in a bad position just one time too many, just kind of ran out of gas. It wasn't a hot night, but it was warm enough.
Well, no, it was a beautiful night. I don't think the heat had anything to do with it. There were a lot of drives. They did enough, as you said. We might have worn down a little bit, but I don't think it was because of the heat. It was just we were on the field a lot.
Right.
We turned the ball over ourselves. We kept giving them short fields. We had a turnover on the kickoff. We threw 2 interceptions, and that created 3 extra possessions for our defense, and that was a big deal. It wasn't our best offensive game, but they did a great job on defense. I mean, they covered us. They held Landry inside the pocket, and they locked us down on the back end. They played more man coverage than they had played, and they did more line games and stunning than they had played. And sometimes you got to tip your hat to them. They did a better job than us. But I think the story of the game was our defense really did a good job of holding them. They inherited short fields. They held them to field goals. They had a drive where they were chunking us. We locked it down, stopped them for the field goal attempt, and they missed a field goal attempt. They did everything that they needed to do. But it's a team game. This was probably our worst special teams game of the year, which is a combination of offensive and defensive players. You can't just say it's one thing. We are the team. We are the product of the team. There's games you win 50-49. There's games you win 7-6. And I say that because when we play East Texas Baptist, unfortunately, we've only been one-sided. We've had games where we played unbelievable offense. We went up there. Last time we went up there, we put up over 500 yards, had a ton of touchdowns, but we couldn't hold them on defense. This game, we did a really good job of holding them down on defense, and we didn't match it on offense. So that's been the story of playing ETBU. And it's an unfortunate story, but that's the way it's been. Is we've been too heavy. One side of the ball has been a little bit better than the others. An uncharacteristically uneven game for us on special teams, I think. Uneven because we had our best kickoff returns of the year.
Right.
Eli Norris had a good kickoff return. JoJo Wilson had a kickoff return. But we dropped a punt snap. We missed the 2 kickoff catches, which are uncharacteristic. So a very uneven game for us in the special teams.
And just to bring everything kind of back full circle to close out the first segment here, you mentioned last week how you thought Southwestern has closed the gap on ETBU over the years, especially going back to those first couple of years you played them. Last year's game was close. Saturday night's game was very close heading into the fourth quarter. I know there's really no such thing as a moral victory per se, but, man, you could really see how much the gap has closed. 56-10 seems like a long time ago, Coach.
That was the first game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, no moral victories, man. What I said stands. Our compete level, our energy level, our urgency was there. But this was an important game for a football program. There were guys that had played those previous games that were texting me like, hey, get him this time, get him this time.
Yeah.
And we didn't get him this time. We really tried. You know what? We really tried. So there's not – I'm a moral victory guy. I'm going to see the progress, see how things are going, but this was our last chance at getting them.
Yeah.
They're off our schedule for a while. I'm sure we're in state, right? We're going to play again at some point. But they're off our schedule for now. So, the effort was great. The attitude was great. The fight was unbelievable. But at the end of the day, we didn't get that one. And so we're not taking a moral victory from that.
Yeah, well, especially the start, though. I mean, you got off the bus and really popped them in the mouth and made them realize they were going to be in a football game, if nothing else. So.
Yeah, again, we play those guys 10 times. I bet we're 5-5.
Yeah.
But that last Saturday, they got us.
Well, the final score again, 31-10. Very misleading final score. Pretty good football game. Fun game to watch. Hard-hitting football game. I think we all had ice baths on the way home. So, Coach, we'll see you here in just a few moments. We're going to get to Elijah Norris, and we'll get to him right after this break here, where you're watching SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network. Stick around. Quarter number 2 coming up right here on Vype Live. And welcome back to quarter number 2 of SU Football Weekly here on Vype Live. Merle Bertrand back with you here, and we'll talk to Elijah Norris here in just a moment. Before we get to that, we want to thank some more of our sponsors, including Jack's Lounge at the Georgetown Sheraton, John F. Lewis CPA, Mighty Fine Burgers, Fries, and Shakes, Minuteman Press and Waterboard Graphics, Primerica Financial Solutions, Ross and Champion, Rudy's, and Schlotsky's Georgetown. And as we've been talking about, joined by senior defensive back Elijah Norris, who had a big night for the Pirates with an interception and a fumble recovery versus ETBU. Eli, just introduce yourself to the folks out there who are tuned in.
How's it going? Elijah Norris, senior defensive back for Southwestern Pirates. Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
The interception, did you step out of bounds? How many times have you
watched
controversy
right now? Big controversy around campus. I believe I don't step out of bounds. I did not step out of bounds. I believe it was my white cleats. I think they were too close to the sideline. They blended in with the sideline. Ref thought I stepped out of bounds, but what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Made a good play thanks to my defense. D-line had good pressure. Made a play.
Yeah, the first of a number of good plays for you on a Saturday night. Now, you are from Broswell High School in Little Elm, Texas. For the folks that don't know where that's at, where's that at exactly?
That's in the North Dallas area, the Frisco, between the Denton, Frisco area. 6A school up there in Denton ISD. I was there when the school first got built. Was there when the program was getting built. Now they're pretty decent team, made the playoffs these past couple years, and having a pretty decent season this year.
Well, what brought you to Southwestern? How did you hear about Southwestern, and how did you wind up down here?
So I had my best friend, his brother actually was already at Southwestern, Caleb Richardson. He was a freshman at Southwestern, and my friend Jeff Archer said he was being recruited by Southwestern. So he told me about Southwestern. I sent Coach Mask an email one day of my huddle film. He reached out to me, said he loved the film, and here I am today. And I don't regret anything. I love everything that Southwestern has offered these past 4 years. And I can't wait to finish it out these next couple months.
Well, I ask all the veterans that come on the show now. You're a senior now. What's the experience been like so far? How has it changed from when you were coming in? What's that transition like, sort of?
Well, of course, when I first came in, it was 2019. I was a freshman. I came to Southwestern because of just the environment of SU. The location of SU is in a very convenient location. Prestigious school, known around the world, the nation, for its academics. So it was just a no-brainer going to Southwestern plus football. And then, COVID hit in my freshman year going into spring break, and that just changed the world, and then, of course, changed my experience at Southwestern. Just things were different around school, but football-wise, things were rough, during COVID, as they were for many programs. But, we have a great group of guys. We were diligent. We fought through COVID year. We had a good year last year, and hopefully we can clean up a few things this year and finish out this year strong also.
Well, the defense played really well overall, as Coach and I were just talking about. We had your partner in crime, Jamarcus Ross, on the show last week. So talk about the communication you all have in the secondary. How do you know when you're going to switch, and changes from man to man and zone defense, all that kind of stuff. Just talk about that whole process a little bit.
The secondary-wise, I can talk about the secondary all day. I think our secondary is definitely the goofiest position group on the team. We love each other. We're loud. We talk a lot. But that's a big part of our communication on the field in game time. We're just so open with each other. We love each other. That communication just comes easy. So when we see something on the field, it's just natural for us to communicate with each other and make sure we got each other's back. And then just defensively, besides just the secondary, overall, we just have a great, amazing group of guys on defense. We're led by Coach Creasel, our defensive coordinator. He's just a brilliant mind. We have Coach Kelly, who's just Mr. SU football himself. He has all the SU awards. He's my position coach, so he really helps on the back end with our passing game. And just having those 2 months combined with the guys we have, Jason Lund, Patrick Nicholas, covering with the safety. On the other end, I have Dre or Dino whenever he's healthy. And then our linebackers, Blank Cork, and just everyone. We have a great group of guys that do their job. We trust each other, and that just makes our defense go.
Well, I asked him this question as well. I want to get your thoughts on it. What's it like working against Landry Gilpin, and with the way he runs around and all the receivers you guys have to work with? How does that make you guys better?
Going against him daily basis really prepares us for our games. Landry coming out of high school, he came in with me. He was Mr. Texas football, so he was well known coming out of high school. I came out as a receiver, so I was really excited to play with him. But now on the opposite side of him as DB, you gotta be on your toes with him every snap. You don't know what he's going to do. He can scramble. He can throw. He can do whatever. So having him, and then just the receiver cores he has with him. He has EP, JoJo Wilson, Adrian Garza, Dugan, just all of them. They work us in practice as well. The receivers, they push the one-on-ones and team. The whole offense in general, they push us to be better. So going against them on a daily basis really helps us be prepared on a weekly basis.
Well, we just saw some of the highlights, a great interception return, the fumble return. You're also the Pirates' return man on punts, and I guess sometimes on kickoffs as well. So what's more fun for you, an interception with a big, long return, especially if it turns into a pick six, or, when the kickoff or the punt is coming to you and you get that big seam and you see the C's part? Which is more fun for you?
More fun. I would say, so a pick six, a pick six is always great, but I'd say a kickoff return is more fun. That's more rare.
Right.
That's more rare. You're not going to get very many kickoff returns for a touchdown. So as you said, getting a kickoff return, seeing your blockers block, seeing that big hole open, just hitting the hole, that's something that's exciting. That gets your blood pumping, and then just hitting the hole, going to the end zone. That's definitely better than a pick six in my opinion.
Now, we've seen a lot of times already this year where when you're back on punt return, the ball will hit the ground and take that funny bounce, and you make an over-the-shoulder catch. It's one of those risk-reward kind of things because you're probably saving your team about 15 or 20 yards. But, talk about that, and, how do you decide when to call the fair catch, when to try to make the play, or is it pure instinct at that point?
So we work on it every week, especially with Coach Austin, being so heavy in our special teams. Personally, just when I'm back there, I trust my guys that when the call is made, if it's a return call, that I know they're going to block. So once it's up in the air, I just kind of count. If it's coming down quick, I know I'm going to return. I'm not even thinking about it because I know my guys are blocking. But if it's up there for kind of a minute, then I might just think about it a second. When the ball's kicked, I see who's coming first. It's usually the snapper and the gunner, so I kind of visualize how fast they're coming. So if it's hanging there in a second and I feel like they're getting too close, I'll just fair catch it. And then, as you said, whenever it bounces like that, I'm taught to, get the ball, try to save the offense a couple yards, catch it as soon as possible. So at that point, it's just I got to be selfless. If I'm going to take a hit, I'm going to take a hit. I'm just going to catch the ball and take it.
But you guys are talking to each other, right, when the ball's in the
Oh,
air,
yeah,
that
for
kind of
sure.
thing?
Definitely. It's usually my partner crying back there, Patrick Nicholas, number 9. Shout out him.
Except for 27 the other night.
Yeah, Saturday he was 2-7. Little situation. But he's usually out there with me, and he's usually giving me a call. He gives me the return call, and then he's usually telling me if I can return it or not. And then if he's blocking, then again, as I said, I just go off of my pure instincts.
Well, favorite memories so far, on or off the field, or both?
Ooh, that's hard. That's really hard. All right, so favorite memory.
Oh, come on, you guys. I mean, I'm asking you guys this every week. You should be watching the other guys and
That's
preparing
hard.
ahead,
That's
right?
hard. We have a lot of memories, especially DB group. I'm gonna just pick a random memory. I'm gonna go with my freshman year. My very first game. I didn't know I was traveling. It was a Thursday night. Got a last minute text from Coach Mass that I'm traveling to Swanee, Tennessee. My very first game. I think just my favorite experience was just my very first time being with the Southwestern Pirates, the travel team, being in the airport, and just finally actually getting a genuine time to bond with other guys. And I think that just has always stuck with me. That's been my favorite part, football-wise. And then just SU-wise, my favorite memory. I don't know. I don't think I can say that on the show.
It's a family show, right?
It's a family show.
We're not FCC compliant, but still.
But seriously, I think my favorite memory at SU has just been. I think it's been my time with. I want to say with my fraternity brothers. I'm in a fraternity at K. I'm a part of Greek life, and having them a part of at SU along with my football and just other curriculars, having them be with me these past couple years has also been a great help. So shout out them. That's been a part of SU.
Well, last question here for you before we let you go. I saw that you're a business major. What are your plans after college, or is that still kind of still to be determined?
Yes, I'm a business major. Don't know. I graduate December. I graduate early. Don't know what I'm gonna do. Interested in marketing sales. Hit me up if you have any positions open. But yeah, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, once I'm done, get to work and maybe still play football. Play overseas or something. Germany, Canada, maybe. But yeah, I'm business major. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, any final thoughts, any shout-outs you want to give before we let you go here?
Still a long season, still got a couple more games left. Go Pirates. We're going to finish out the year strong.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
Elijah Norris, defensive back for the Southwestern Pirates, I guess, during quarter number 2. We'll take a break, and when they'll be back, Chuck will come back. He'll be speaking to offensive lineman Anderson Johnson, pardon me. That's coming up on quarter number 3, SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network.
Welcome back to SU Football Weekly. I'm Chuck Cracy. We're here for Cracy's Corner. I'm joined by Anderson Johnson. Anderson, how are you this evening?
Good. How are you, sir?
Doing well. You play on the offensive line. Which position on the offensive line do you play, or are you multifaceted?
Multifaceted. I play left tackle, left guard. They'll even slip me in that center sometimes. I like to play them all.
Well, and it's not a glory position or a position group. Talk a little bit about what it's like to be in the trenches in college football.
It's a grind. It's just like they call it. It's the trenches. You got to grind in the trenches. We know we don't get the glory, but that's the beauty of it. To be honest with you, you're just grinding, and you just want the team the team knows that you're doing great, even if the people in the stands don't know.
The mic closer to your mouth.
Even if the people in the stands don't know, that's the beauty of it, and I love being in the trenches. This is my favorite part.
Well, and the offensive line, as I mentioned, there's not a lot of glory there, and it's a tough position. I mean, you often have to, everybody, if you're watching any sports analysis, they're always talking about the defense, and if the defense is tired, this, and if the defense is tired, is that. But the offensive line probably puts just as much work in as the defense in that physical, hitting as soon as the ball is snapped and to the whistle. So talk about how tired you can get in the offensive line and what kind of conditioning you guys do as a group.
Yeah, you definitely get tired a lot in the offensive line because you're one of the few people who hit every single play in the football game. And a conditioning that we do during the week mainly is we run these things called barrel drills. It works on our steps. It helps with our speed option game, and we run those every day, and it really gets us into shape. And we run this thing called 4 quarters where we just constantly do it. And then we finish, that's 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarters, and continuous until we're done. And that really helps us get into game shape early in training camp and then throughout the year.
Well, and you have guys that you block for, guys on the edge that are catching passes. You got Landry Gilpin, and you got LeBleu and Gianni and Jaquan. When they rip off a big run because of something you guys did, how good does that feel?
It feels amazing. There's no other feeling like it. Just seeing them run into the end zone, it makes me so happy because I love them as teammates. I hang out with them outside of football. I talk to them, and they tell me what they see, and I tell them what I see, and we try to mesh it so they can get in the end zone. It's the best
and all those guys are very athletic. They get a lot of credit for their foot speed and athleticism. But one thing that people may not know about offensive linemen are that they are also quite athletic in terms of athletes and on the football field. In fact, many of them are pretty good dancers and things like that. Do you find yourself doing anything like that? Or?
Yes, I actually did. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, and I know most of the guys who play in the offensive line were multi-sport athletes in high school. And we just pride ourselves on that, and that's how a lot of our footwork gets really good as we all play multiple sports and try to do different things to help ourselves on and off the football field.
Well, and there's a lot of balance involved, and you have to know this. So what were the other sports you played in high school?
I played baseball, and I did track and field.
Track and field? Were you in the sprints, or were you a field guy?
Nah, not unless it was the big man relay. I was not getting out there and sprinting.
Did you ever compete in the big man? Because that's always a fun race.
I definitely did, Coach. He definitely threw me out there. And it was fun. We got second, but that was definitely a fun time.
So talk about the closeness of the offensive line group. You already mentioned a little bit that you're close with the running backs. They probably bring in all the girls, and so that's probably a good idea. But talk about the other guys on the offensive line and how close y'all are.
Oh man, we're one of the closest groups on the team, if not the closest, man. Every Thursday we have this thing called Thick Man Thursday, and if you're ever at the Whataburger in Georgetown, you'll see us there on a Thursday night. The whole offensive line is eating together. Most of us live together, and we just always thrive in the same environment. We're constantly talking to each other, constant group chats, and I think that's what brings us so close and why we're able to communicate so well on the field at all times.
Well, in the broadcast here on Vype for each game, you have a voice up there that that is really supporting you in TJ Vela. Do you know TJ?
Yes, I do know TJ.
So what are your comments on TJ? He's a pretty funny guy to hang out with in a broadcast sense, but how was he as an older offensive lineman?
Oh man, TJ was amazing. He actually graduated a year before I got here, but I saw the film on him and seen so many amazing things about him, heard so many amazing things about him, hung out with him a couple of times at some of the guys' house, and he's just an amazing person, an amazing man.
Well, and that's something that I would recommend of you and other guys, especially if you stay in the Austin area, is that you continue to be a part of the program. We got a bye week coming up, so how are you going to use that bye week?
To get healthy. They're just keeping your body healthy. I think that's the main thing for everybody throughout the season, just treatment, getting in the training room, just trying to just fix those little knacks so we can just finish the season strong as a team. And I think that's really what everybody's going to use it for, just getting more treatment, getting in the weight room a little bit heavier this week than we have in the past.
So you're still going to use it to work, basically.
Yes, sir.
And a little bit of rest in between.
Exactly.
So you're from Cypress. That's near Houston, correct?
Yes, sir.
So Houston, one of the bigger cities in the country. Austin trying to be a big city. But what's the difference in living in a place like Cypress right outside a big city like Houston and coming here to Georgetown at a little bit smaller university?
I think the biggest change for me was Cypress is a lot more. Cypress is big in a sense, like it's a suburb of Houston, but it's still 250,000 people.
Oh wow!
And Georgetown it was a little smaller, and like things close earlier here. That was one of the weird things, like coming here from Houston and like seeing things close at like 9 o'clock. I was not used to that, so that was one thing.
So
that was
late night snacks you have to plan a little in advance for. Okay, let's talk about school while you're here. What is your major, and what do you plan to do post graduation?
I'm a computer science major with a history minor. Honestly, I'm not sure right now if I want to go into the tech industry, or I've been thinking about going to law school and maybe going into IP law. So I've been up in the air about it, so I still got a year to decide, so we'll see.
There's a lot of growth in that area, especially with the metaverse that Facebook is pushing out. There's a lot of legal questions that have yet to be resolved. So if you do pursue a degree in law, especially in the IT area, that might be an area that you can really set the tone for law in that area. So let's talk a little bit more personal though right now. So when you're prepping for a game, what kind of music are you listening to? Name a couple of artists, or maybe even a genre.
Rap. I'm gonna listen to rap and like J. Cole, and then J. Cole, Kendrick, and I'll usually like, as it gets closer to game time, I'll try to switch to like some old school R&B, some Aaliyah, some Usher, some like old Chris Brown, like something like that, just to calm.
So you're just trying to find that even keel level there. So what about when you're studying? What are you listening to when you're studying?
The thing I listen to, the only album I can listen to when I'm studying is the Mac Miller Circles album, actually. Okay. Because it's not just background noise, but it's not too hyped to where I get off track.
Or you get distracted by it? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, so what about when you're just relaxing? You know, I'm gonna just sit here on the couch and relax. Is it the same kind of even keeled music that you listen to right before the game?
Something like R&B, something like that. There's nothing too crazy.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. Tell us about, and you can name more than one, but tell us about someone here in your experience at Southwestern that has really influenced you in a positive way, directed you in a positive direction. You can mention a coach if you want, but let's take you off the worry about, mentioning one coach over another. Let's talk about professors. Or another student or something.
I would say a professor, my advisor, Dr. Marr. She's really helped me in like just talked to me about things and been really understanding when I came to her. And I give the world to her for that. I had a tough freshman spring semester, and she really helped me through that, just going to talk to her, everything like that, and I appreciate her so much for that.
And that's the kind of stuff you want to pay forward later on when you're the experienced guy and you come back and help somebody else through a tough time. So, keep that always in mind that the more you're helping folks, the better off you are, right? And the better off they are, obviously. So, what's one of your favorite memories in football here at Southwestern?
Football, probably the first game of the season, Cal-Lou.
This year?
Yeah, that Cal-Lou win. We went to California, didn't play well against them last year.
I was there with you.
Mm-hmm. And then we came back this year, and JoJo catching that pass in the end zone. Like, just that celebration with those guys and that moment and what it meant to us after last year, nothing could top that.
Well, I can tell you, just as a part of the broadcast crew, I'm supposed to be somewhat unbiased. And I wanted to go and jump in the pile with y'all after the game. I mean, it was really exciting, so I could see why that would be. So what about outside of football? What's a favorite memory of your time at Southwestern?
Outside of football?
Organic chemistry? What is that?
Definitely not. Outside of football, because the thing is, outside of football, I still hang out with the football guys. So I think a reverse of that would be the California trip last year when we got to go to Santa Monica Pier. That was amazing.
That was a neat experience, right?
Yeah, because I'd always wanted to go to LA. I'd never been to California, never been on the West Coast. So it was a very unique experience for me to go to Santa Monica Pier and go to the Pacific Ocean and just have fun with the guys out there.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive out there. I mean, you hear a lot about it, and until you see it, you're just like, I mean, how different could it be? But it is nice. The weather's beautiful. Yes, so do you have anybody you want to shout out before I let you go?
I want to shout out my mom, my dad. I know they're watching right now. And I want to shout out my sisters. And I want to shout out my family watching back home. I love all y'all.
That's important. Family is important. It's good to meet you tonight, Anderson. That's Anderson Johnson. Let's give him a round of applause. And we'll be right back here on SU Football Weekly with Merle and Coach Austin as I'm not sure what we're going to discuss because it's bye week, but I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about. So we'll be right back.
All right, welcome back to quarter number 4 of SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network. Merle Bertrand back with Coach Joe Austin. And again, we want to thank the rest of our sponsors here tonight. John F. Lewis CPAs. Oh, I read them already. Got my paperwork all messed up. Bricks and Ale to Sheraton. Stephanie Featherstone with State Farm. Upstream Investment Partners. Zane's Hands. Georgetown Shirt Company. First American Title. The Golden Rule. Mesquite Creek Outfitters. Grooveline Productions. HEB. And House of Games. With all those good, fine folks, we wouldn't be here tonight. So thank you very much to all of them. And Coach, I also want to say a few words about Elijah Norris and Anderson Johnson. A couple of different positions, different kind of guys. Talk about those two a little bit.
Good guys, man. I think I say that every week, but every player that comes on is just a good person, and they've got their head on their shoulders, and they're doing things the right way, and they work hard. And Anderson tells me that he prays for me every day, which I appreciate. I'm praying for him too, but the fact that I know Anderson's praying for me every day is awesome. So I like both those guys. I've got a lot of admiration for both of them, and I think they're going to have really good second halves to the season.
Well, Bailey has heard this before because he comes from Vandergrift High School, but one of the guys that does the Vandergrift broadcast calls the offensive lineman hog mollies. And I just thought that kind of fit. He seemed like a hog molly, but he gets the job done, right?
Yeah, Anderson's awesome. He's gritty, but he's got that great personality off the field. He has really developed a lot. Like Elijah Norris, we knew he was going to be a star when he came in, whether it was going to be on offense or defense. And Anderson kind of came in, middle of the pack in his group of freshman offensive linemen, and has worked his way into being a starter that we really rely on. And he had a knee surgery too, so he's had some adversity to overcome. So his work ethic has just been awesome. It doesn't take anything away from Eli, who we knew was going to be good. I mean,
right.
He hasn't let us down, that's for sure, right? I mean, Elijah Norris is returning all-conference player. He is as advertised, great in the return game, great as a defensive back. We saw the interception, the fumble return. But Anderson Johnson, to finish the story on him, is really a self-made player and has really worked hard, and his attitude's been awesome. So he's the kind of guy that you love to see have success. And you just love talking to the guy because you can tell his personality is pretty cool.
Right. Well, we've reached the halfway mark of the 2022 season. The Pirates sit at 2-3 overall. So heading into the bye week, what's your overall impression of the first half of the season?
Yeah, it's been okay. I mean, 2-3 is what we earned, right? That's all you can say. It would have been nice to be at 3-2 or 4-1. The Belhaven trip was really hard from a logistics standpoint. UMHB is one of the top, if not the top, programs in the country. And that was a game that we lost. And then this one was another game that we had a chance.
Right.
We had a chance at it, and we've dissected that one and how we fell short. But we could be anywhere from 4-1 to 1-4, I suppose. I mean, it wasn't an easy win against Cal Lutheran. It wasn't an easy win against McMurray. That is the nature of our football team. We have to be a team that competes and a team that battles because we're in a really difficult conference.
Yeah.
When I look all the time at, I coached at Augsburg College, so did Coach Ross and Coach Kriesel. I would have loved to have their first 4 games on their schedule. They're not listening, right? Those teams they played some freaking cupcakes, man. I'd love to have it. I'd love to be sitting 4-0 and have played Augsburg's schedule right now.
Right.
We'd be feeling really, really good. But we played college football in Texas. It's a little bit different deal. And so you look at some of those schedules and some of the other regions in the country. You look at some of the teams that Hanover College is playing, the team where I was a head coach before I came here. It's a different deal than playing the people that we play. I mean, McMurray has been like on the other side of the flips of the coin, right? Like we were a coin flip away against them and a coin flip away against Cal Lutheran. They've lost those coin flips. They let 2 double-digit leads slip away to us. I'd like to think that's because overall we were the better team. But when you look at it from their perspective, that's the game they felt like they could win.
Right.
They were right there with a bunch of teams that they played, and they haven't finished one out yet. It's a really, really difficult place to play. Playing in Texas and playing college football here, it's really hard. But it's a great place to be because we are competitors.
Right.
And I love the competition, and our players love the competition. And we tell them in recruiting, if you're going to come play here, I mean, you're not walking into, cupcakes. You're not walking into a 10-0, just walk your way through. It is going to be a place where you have to compete and really, really work hard at it.
Well, you don't really have a choice when the bye comes, but is the bye coming at a good time for you guys, or would you prefer it at a different part of the season if you had your pick?
It is always good no matter when it comes, whether it's the second week or whenever it is. But this is good. When our conference went to 10 teams, the American Southwest, meaning that there's 9 conference games, I actually introduced the legislation to put the bye week right in the middle of the season because I thought it was really good for student athletes.
Right.
Well, it was really good for their mental and physical health to play 5 bye week and 5. Now, teams have the opportunity to move their schedule around. Like Texas Lutheran and Howard Payne moved their conference game to week 1 so they could fit another non-conference game in elsewhere. So Texas Lutheran played their non-conference game last week. So Howard Payne's going to play this week during the conference bye week. But most of the teams in our conference will be off this week. They play week 1, go right into the conference schedule week 2 through 11, with the bye week is number 6. So I think from a student-athlete standpoint, I think it fits really well. It's a good time. Our bye weeks when we go to the SAA next year, they're going to get crazy. I think our second year in that conference, we played 10 games in a row.
Wow.
We're the affiliate member, right? Make us play 10 games. That's what you're going to get.
It's like hazing.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do it to us our first year.
Right.
I think our second year in there, we're going to play 10 weeks in a row, and then we're going to watch the last week of the season, which is really unusual. Most conference schedules don't have a bye week that late, but I guess maybe that's just how they do it, and someone always plays 10 in a row. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, we happen to draw the short straw as the affiliate member to play 10 in a row. But we'll cross that bridge. We'll burn that bridge when we come to it. Right. Long answer to a short question is we'll take the bye week now. We are missing a lot of football players. Peyton Ludeman, a starting safety, hasn't played yet this year. Camden Terry, starting corner, hasn't played since week 1. I'm not going to mention the guys that are nicked up because I like hockey, and you don't mention the guys that are nicked up. They're hockey players. They'll be out there. But this is a great week to get them to be healthy. We've been missing 2 starting linemen for quite a while. Dimitri Selko, our center, has been out. Jarrett Robinson plays on the left side of our line. Guard and tackle has been out. So to get your offensive line healthy, to get your defensive backfield healthy, 2 defensive starters in the secondary would be really helpful. 2 offensive line starters would really be helpful. And that's kind of the hope of this bye week is there's at least 4 starters, maybe more, that can get healthy, as well as some depth players and some role players that can get fresh and really get going. When we come back, we'll talk more about next week, but we start with 2 ranked teams. We play the team that score an average of 51 points a game. Then we play the 11th ranked team in the country, or whatever Hardin Simmons is. They'll be somewhere in that area.
Right.
So it doesn't get any easier coming off the bye week. So, yes, to keep answering your short question, this is a good week because it's really hard when we come back to play 2 ranked teams.
Well, 3-part question here for you. They're simple questions, though. What's the most satisfying part of the first half of the season so far?
The most satisfying, as all the players keep saying, it was a really fun victory against Cal Lutheran, so that was a pretty fun thing. The most satisfying thing to me, and believe it or not, this was my initial thought and reaction after the ETBU game, was my admiration for how hard we competed. It wasn't a great offensive game, but it wasn't because they didn't really compete. Didn't try their blanks off, right?
Right.
Same thing on defense. So I think that was, to me, the highlight, because if you've got a group of football players that are going to go out and lay it on the line every week, you've got something. Because not all teams are like that. Mm-hmm. They'll kind of go with the wind. If things are going well, they'll be great. If it doesn't go your way, then they won't be. That's a good group of good men that you can really, get behind. So I think that's the highlight for me.
And the flip side of the equation, what's the most disappointing part so far?
Not winning that game against ETBU. Yeah. Before it was the whole Belhaven trip and the fact that, we didn't put our players in a good position to succeed because of how all the logistic things fell apart and the lightning delay fell apart. But we were right there with those guys, and so it was a very disappointing game. It was disappointing because that's a game, being our last time to play them for a while, that it was important to all 10 of our football teams.
Right.
Guys that played them in 2013 when they had NFL prospects going to NFL training camps, and they just smashed us. It's important to all those teams for us to get one against them. We were really close. The story is, as we've said, we played great on one side of the ball, and we did that again. So every game is important to the team that's on the field. That was a game that I know was important to all 9 teams that came before them. So that was disappointing.
And the last part of the 3-part question, biggest surprise so far this year?
Taking 4 buses to get to Jackson, Mississippi.
That was a story. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, so the bills are coming through on that, and Denise Barnes, our awesome budget officer, emails me and Coach Bishop, our operations director, and she goes, the quote was for this much for buses. It came in this much. Why was that? And I started to type in, go watch SU Football Weekly for the story.
Right.
And anyone that needs documentation of the business office, just have them watch it. But I deleted it. John handled it. So, we had to change bus companies. He handled it better than I would have. So good job, Coach Bishop. You cut me off from having to send a smart blank email about here's why our buses cost more.
That's pretty funny. Well, the Pirates have the week off, so what's going on with the guys this week? How are they taking advantage? We heard from 2 of the players, but overall, what's the plan?
This is the first time in 10 years that the school's fall break. They have no classes Monday, Tuesday. The first time that the fall break has been on our bye week.
Oh, wow.
Our players never get a weekend off from school. They never get that time off because usually they're here and they don't have class, but we're still practicing and lifting and training, and they kind of miss out on that. But this time, it worked out that our fall break is our bye week. So today was our normal off day. Actually, we have our JV group playing at Hardin-Simmons right now. So I'll be getting on, my fingers and finding out about that game as soon as we get done with the show here, see how our team's doing there. So we're going to practice Tuesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The players will be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. No class Monday. And then we'll get back in the weight room Tuesday afternoon. Either there's no classes, practice Tuesday afternoon, and then we're off into a normal game week. So good for them. It's been a roller coaster of the first 5 weeks.
Yeah.
The high of the overtime win, the low of the disaster at Belhaven. It's hard to recover playing the defending national champion, and then you have a great so I guess we're down again, right? And then you have a comeback victory against McMurray, and then you put so much into ETBU and you come up just short despite a great defensive effort. That's up and down every week, man.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be good for them to get away and be away from football and hopefully come back just really enthused and ready to tackle the difficulty of playing back-to-back ranked teams when we kick off the second half of the season.
And not just them, you guys as well. I don't think people have any idea how hard you guys have to work. So a little chance for you maybe to recharge the battery a little bit and take care of some honeydew stuff.
By this time of the year, I'm never super healthy. I mean, poor Marissa's not sleeping in the same room with me right now because I can't breathe, and so she can't sleep. I don't know if I'm sharing too much privacy. I told her, you need to kick me out. So, yeah, it'd be great to get healthy. I've got sinus surgery coming up on deck in December, so I'm just trying to get myself through the season. And, yeah, we all need a little bit of a break and a little bit of rest. Get some sleep.
Well, you kind of touched on it, so I don't want to be too redundant here, but just kind of set the table for the second half. You talked about the ranked opponents coming up, and these guys got to feel like they've got a chance in all 5 games coming up here to close out the season and get to a 7-3, 6-4 record. Yeah,
so how the schedule works out is we're playing Howard Payne. We'll talk more about that next week, and so everyone needs to come out. Ken Ralph, our new athletic director, will be our guest next week. Don't want to forget that, so make sure you don't miss that show. He's still meeting everyone in the community. It's going to be great to have him be a guest. We're also going to do audience participation, correct?
Yes, we are.
So we'll pass out some paper and pencils. I don't need that. I'm sure some folks will email in some questions.
Right.
That's always fun. Back in the KMAC days when we had a bye week, actually the KMAC days when we were really young and getting just demolished, we didn't talk about the games much. We had lots of audience participation. Yeah. So we'll have time for audience participation next week. And then we'll talk about the Howard Payne game. And they're an elite offense. They have 4 transfer wide receivers, 3 from Division I, 1 from Division II. So a really elite offense, a big challenge for our defense. And then we play Hardin-Simmons, who's a perennial top 10 team in the country, is a playoff contender again this year. Then we play Austin College. We have to go on the road, a chance to get a victory on the road there. Rivalry game against Texas Lutheran. They come to our place for the last home game of the season. It'll be senior day. There'll be some other events going on. And then we'll end the year with a really long road trip, 8-9 hour bus ride out to Alpine, Texas, to Sul Ross State, which is a beautiful place to play, but logistically difficult because there's not a place to eat or stay within an hour and a half of where they're at. So that's always an interesting deal. They have a new head coach. Their old head coach used to make everybody play night games. They'd make you drive out there and then sit around all day and then play a night game. Can you imagine driving back to East Texas Baptist or Louisiana College or Belhaven from Alpine middle of the night? I mean, it's 2 days to drive home.
Yeah.
So I guess that's their home field advantage. Their new head coach has backed off of that a little bit. So that is what the schedule looks like. We're going to win more football games. I mean, I don't have any doubt about that. The question is how healthy we can be and how well we can do throughout the second half of the season. I think we're going to do okay.
I think so, too. So the Pirates, again, are off this week. Season resumes a week from Saturday when Southwestern travels to Gordon Woods Stadium in Brownwood to take on the Howard Payne Yellow Jackets. Game time is set for 2 o'clock, I believe. We'll be on there to roughly 1:45 if you can't make the trip, but shame on you if you don't. Pirates had a good crowd, by the way, in Marshall Saturday night. That was really nice to see.
Yeah, we did. And let me say last thing about next week's show. I caught a lot of flack last week from the people that attend for not having a show in the bye week. Everybody said they missed it and they want us to have a show. So this week we're doing a bye week show, so everybody needs to be here to justify us doing a bye week show when there's not a game to recap. So we're going to do a great bye week show next week. and everybody needs to be here at the Sheridan.
Yeah, exactly what he said. So be here next week. Thank you to our producer tonight, Jack Farrell, our technical director, Suna Vincott, Chuck Tracy, Coach Austin, our guests, Elijah Norris and Anderson Johnson, Bessie Martinez with the Georgetown Sheraton, and everyone out there for tuning in. We will be back next Monday night, as Coach mentioned, with a very special guest. That'll be the new athletic director for Southwestern University, Mr. Ken Ralph. So be out here. Come out here. You've heard it from Coach. You have no excuse for not making it out here next Monday night. So, have a great week, and we'll see you 1 week from tonight right back here at Jack's Lounge. My name is Merle Bertrand, signing out from Jack's Lounge here in Georgetown. Have a great week, everybody. Good night.
Come on.
Pirates fight for Old Southwestern, so alma mater dear. Pirates fight for Old Southwestern, for victory is near. To Southwestern will be loyal, to the sun fall from the sky. And remember to the end, that our fight will never die. Pirates fight, yeah we win, ayy. Pirates fight, to the end, whoa. Pirates fight, yeah we win, ayy. Pirates fight, yeah, to the end, whoa, to the end. Pirates fight for Old Southwestern, for alma mater dear. Pirates fight for Old Southwestern, for victory is near. To Southwestern will be loyal, to the sun fall from the sky. And remember to the end, that our fight will never die. Pirates fight, yeah we win, ayy. Pirates fight,